Well, hi, welcome. And my name's Richard Petrie, and I'm going to be taking you through a goal setting session right now. Now, this is usually part of a three-part set of things that we normally do when working with clients. We'll do this goal setting session, which you'll do now. You may do the profit maximizer as well, and this is where we find out how much money that is untapped within your business. And then for those who want to take it further and have a chat with us, it's the suitability session, and that's to get to a suitability session, you have to have done the goal setting and the profit maximizer. So the goal setting is about what do you want? We need to get clear on that. The profit maximizer is what is your potential in your business? What's the easy money that we can untap for you right now? And then the third one is can we help? Okay, so if you ever want to work with us, you'll need to do the goal setting and the profit maximizer so we know what you want and how easy it is going to be to get it for you. But otherwise, you can just do the goal setting and the profit maximizer either individually or together. All right, so let's go through the goal setting exercise. I call this the magic method because it really is quite magic. Goal setting is such an elusive thing for a lot of people, and they do it so poorly that most people fail. Now, what's my background in this? I was a professional cricketer for 12 years and played international cricket, played 12 one-day internationals for New Zealand. So I was always interested in the psychology, human performance psychology for myself to start with. And really, the only reason I ended up playing international cricket or professional cricket was because I learned more about the psychology of high performance thinking than any other players. That was my strength, I guess. And I ended up teaching players. I ended up teaching the teams I played in and got paid to do that. Worked with the Vodafone Warriors for a couple of years, various Commonwealth Games athletes, and a lot of sales teams and business teams. So that's my background. Now, the first question I will usually ask when I'm sitting down one-on-one with someone is this one. And it's a pretty simple one. What do you want? And have a guess about how many people that you might think can answer that question. Just come up with a number in your head. How many people, of all the people I deal with, given I'm a high performance sort of like mental skills coach, how many people actually have a really clear goal about what they want, right? Only about 10% of the people I deal with. Right? And these are high performance sports people or they're sales people or they're business owners. Very few people know exactly what they want. And that's, it's not necessarily a problem, but it's interesting, isn't it? Because if you don't really know what you want, I guess as the Cheshire Cat said, was it the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland? Any road will get you there. Okay, so it makes a lot more sense to get your head looking like this than it does to have it looking like this. And this is the exercise we're going to do. We're going to look to get your head, get all the arrows going in the same direction so that momentum and progress to where you want to be is effortless. But we've got to know where that is, and we've got to make sure that's a place worth going to. Okay, so question for you right now. Are you capable of more? Are you absolutely maxing out what you're currently capable of, knowing your skills and abilities? Now, most people say no, and so the question is, have you ever said, I can do anything I set my mind to? Right? I'm sure you have. I can do anything I set my mind to. The problem is, how do I set my mind to it? Because if I can consistently set my mind to getting me into a state where I'm capable of doing anything, which I'm sure you are, in the right state of mind, then you can achieve extraordinary results without extraordinary effort. Your brain power is so powerful if you tap into it and use it. You can pretty much do anything. I kind of say, it's what I say to myself and I say to other people as well, but I think we're all capable of doing almost anything, but we're not capable of doing everything, right? So we've got to pick the races we're going to run in. We've got to pick the horse we're going to back, right? You're capable of anything, almost, but you're not capable of doing everything. So we have to pick which horses we're going to back. What are the goals we're going to go after? Now, here's an interesting, I have heard this research many times. I don't know for a fact that it's 100% true, but it's an interesting story. Okay, so the research I've heard, and you've probably heard this as well, there was a study done at Harvard Business School. They researched the class of 1979. 84%, this is the MBA class, 84% had no written goals, 13% had goals but they were not written, 3% had written goals and a plan on how they were going to achieve that goal. Right, now can you guess what happened? Right, in 1989, which is 10 years later, the interviewers again interviewed the graduates of that class. Can you guess the results? 13% who had goals were earning twice as much as the 84% with no goals. Okay, sounds like having goals is a good idea. Even more staggering, the 3% who had written goals and a written plan, who had goals and a written plan, were earning on average 10 times the other 97% combined, right, according to this research. Now, I don't even know if that research is true. I've heard it many times from many different people, including Zig Ziglar, but I have seen on the internet there's some debate as to whether that's actual research or not. But regardless, you get the point, right? A written goal plus a clear plan is going to stack the odds in your favor. Okay, I think we intuitively know that's probably the case. And why does it work? Who cares? Right? We just know that it does. I know that people who have a goal are higher achievers than people who aren't, because I deal with a lot of people and talk to them. And the ones who and I'm not just saying a goal, I mean a clear, passionate goal that excites them. That's what I'm talking about, a clear, passionate goal that excites them. And they've worked out a plan for how to get there. Even if that plan changes over time, at least they do have a plan. I know those people are going to achieve. They're like my superstars. I know that they're going to be successful anyway, with or without me. I might be able to help them get there faster, but they're going to get there anyway. They're the easy people. I mean, when it comes to taking on clients, they're the clients you want. The clients who are going to be successful anyway. You can just help them get there faster. And I've had these people, and I know what they're like. I love them, right? I can pick them up as soon as I see them, right? So anyway, let's do it. Let's turn you into one of those people. So the objective is to understand what really drives you first, what really drives you, and then to use that drive to create a goal that changes your life. Okay, so let's go for something big here. We're just going to do a little exercise. You need a pen and a piece of paper, and maybe a couple of pieces of paper. If you haven't got that, just switch the video off now. Go get it. I'm going to take you through a 7-step exercise. Okay, so go get a pen, piece of paper, come back, turn off your cell phone, shut the door, get rid of any distractions that can get in your way, and get into this. So go away now, turn this video off if you haven't got a pen and paper. If you have got a pen and paper, you're possibly one of my superstars. So let's continue. All right. And like I say, this next 30 minutes could be the most profitable 30 minutes of your life. And I actually mean that, right? Because we're going to give you a focused mind. You're going to get your motivation boiling, and you're going to turn yourself into a massive action taker. Pretty useful, you would imagine. A lot of people, when I do the one-on-ones and say, what do you want? They go, oh, that's the thing. That's what I want help with. If you can tell me that, then that's all I need, right? Well, I can facilitate it with you right now, but I can't tell you what it is. What we can do is try and draw it from you. Okay? So for a lot of people, just finding that goal is the goal itself. All right. Now, goal setting doesn't work a lot of the time. That's a funny thing to say when I've just given you this big build-up about goal setting. It's because people do it wrong, right? We're going to do it a certain way. We're going to add one key ingredient to the goal setting, which most people never think to add, right? We're going to add one secret sauce, and it's going to change everything. Now, the reason goal setting fails is because I would say most people the reason their arrows are going all over the place is their emotional temperature is, say, let's 50 out of 100 for the goal, right? When you're only 50 out of 100 for a goal, you've got arrows going all over the place, right? What I need you to be is 100 out of 100 for a particular goal. That's it. That's all we have to do. If you're 100 out of 100 for it, man, think about what you can do. So this concept of emotional temperature, right? Imagine here's someone kind of down the bottom around 25, 30, and for motivation. Someone else is at 100. Now, all things being equal, which one's going to be more successful? The person with all their arrows in one direction, knowing exactly what they want and highly charged up to want to get it, or the person at 50? Well, obviously the person at 100 has a major advantage, right? So, a couple of examples. for me, when I've been at 50 out of 100. So occasionally I've said, oh, look, I'd love to lose some more weight, right? Love to lose some weight. And I would go on a little diet, and I would get to a point, and then I would get stuck, and so it wouldn't happen. I'd get blocked. There would be an obstacle in the way. And that obstacle usually came in the appearance of ice cream or chocolate. Right? I'd go brilliantly for 3/4 of the first day, and then I'd get hungry by 5 o'clock, and I might pack it in. Now, why? What's going on here? Well, let's say the obstacle is 55. The ice cream has a 55 out of 100 obstacle on it, emotional. My desire for the ice cream is higher than my desire for the diet, right? So the obstacle is bigger. I get stuck. The ice cream wins. When my motivation for a diet and ice cream are in combat, and the ice cream's got a 55% temperature rating, and my diet rating is only 50, bang, I get stuck behind the ice cream. Play the bagpipes. Now, here's an extreme example. This is me wanting to play the bagpipes. Boom, stuck. Why am I stuck? Well, the bagpipes maybe only have an obstacle of 10, but my motivation to play the bagpipes is 2. Knitting would be about the same. It's like I'm giving you common sense here, right? We know there are going to be obstacles between where you are now and where you want to be. The question is your motivation bigger than any obstacle that can come? Because if goals were easy to achieve, if worthwhile goals were easy to achieve, everybody would achieve it. So there's got to be these obstacles in the way, right? Now, when it came to playing cricket for New Zealand, there was no issue. My motivation was 100, and there were obstacles. There were lots of obstacles in the way. There was getting fit. There was getting the skills. There was getting selected for teams. There was being accepted within the team. Sometimes you had a captain who didn't like you. Remember a captain who didn't like me, right? There's an obstacle. But when you're really, really committed, you find a way. Let's just go back again and show you that. You find a way. You either go over the obstacle, under the obstacle, through the obstacle, or around the obstacle. Either way, you know you're committed in advance to get through. So, my motivation was 100, and I was always going to get there. Okay, so it's usually not the ability, but rather the impotent goals that stop you. Okay, so what we need to do is leave your head and trust your heart. So what I want to do for you is I want you to be in a position where this is you, and you have a 100 out of 100 goal, and you know that there will be obstacles in the way, but because you've got a goal which is in your head, 100 out of 100 on the emotional temperature, then you will always find a way through, because there will always be obstacles. Okay, so the magic method, finding your 100 out of 100. Do you have to be Einstein to do this? No, it's really simple. We've developed a simple little process. Okay, now let me show you the power of having a good process. Okay, I'm going to show you. Now I'm going to show you these numbers. You've got 10 seconds to look at the numbers. And you're going to write them down in a minute in the exact order. So you ready? I'm going to give you a bit longer than 10 seconds. Look at the characters and see how many you can memorize in order. Go. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. That'll do. Right. Write them down. Write down how many you can get in order. They have to be in order. Have you finished? If you're going to write them all down, you should be still going. Okay, most people, 99% of people will have finished now. Most people get to less than 5. Okay, so if you've got more than 5 characters in a row, you've done really well. These were the characters. Give yourself a mark to see what you got right. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to come up with a new pattern. Okay, I'm going to restructure the order, the sequence, and you're ready? We're going to do the exercise again. Boom. Now these are exactly the same characters. 5 of those, 5 of those, 5 of those, 5 of those, 5 of those. All right. Just write them down. No, you don't have to write them all down. Just write the first one on each list. Right, so as you can see, exactly the same characters, only just all we've done is change the structure. And by having a different structure, most people will get a 400% improvement in their results just by having a high performance structure, right? So when I give you this goal setting exercise, it's going to be effectively the same thing. It's giving you a structure, but the results that can be achieved by using the right structure gives you at least a 400% improvement. Stacks the dice in your favor and loads everything in your favor. Stacks the odds in your favor. All right. You ready? There are two types of motivation, either to avoid pain or gain pleasure. They're both very powerful, right? Let's have a look at the avoid pain. Some say this is more powerful. Now, let's say I said, remember we had a temperature scale of plus 100? Well, there's also one for minus 100. And minus 100 would be the avoid pain. So if someone came and put a gun to your head and said, if you don't go and make 50 cold calls to new businesses before lunchtime today, I'm going to shoot you. Now, I know it's a pretty graphic example, but I want to make my point. Now, I'm going to guess that you have no problem making 50 cold calls before lunch to new businesses. Now, in the past, you might have said, I couldn't do that, or I couldn't, I can't cold call, or you would find a way instantly to be able to go and do it. It wasn't that you couldn't do it, it's just that you didn't have enough motivation to do it. And in this case, you're trying to avoid extreme pain. There is no more extreme than a bullet to the head, right? But all of a sudden, with that motivation, the job becomes easy. Now, the gaining pain, that's a sort of an unpleasant way to motivate yourself, right? Wouldn't you say? The gun to the head, it's kind of unpleasant. Something which is a lot more pleasant would be if I said to you, I'll give you $1 million if you make 50 cold calls for businesses looking for a new accountant before lunchtime. And you would do that as well. Only it would be a lot more enjoyable to do, right? So those are the two. Avoid pain, gain pleasure. Now, we'll probably use the move towards pleasure because it's nicer. So the secret sauce of what we're going to do here, and this is step number one in the process, is we need to identify what already inspires you or what has inspired you in the past. Okay, what has inspired you in the past? So using this 0 to 100 emotional temperature scale, if I did a little exercise, I would say, all right, well, what's diet? Yeah, probably 40, sometimes a bit higher. If I was looking at myself and I didn't like the look of it, but 40 to 50. Okay, going to the gym is much higher. I'll do that. I won't do it every day and every week or anything, but I'm pretty good at going to the gym, and I would rate that probably about 70. And that goes up and down a wee bit too, but I'm pretty consistent. What else? What's 100? Starting my business, I was 100. It was something I had to do. I was working in an IT company. It was doing my head in. I was an account manager, earning good money. Nothing wrong with the job, nothing wrong with the industry, but I had no passion for IT at all. I really wanted to do my own thing. So I wanted to do my own, basically performance psychology business, and that's exactly what I did. I was so motivated and driven. I was in London at the time, and I was working like till midnight every night, putting together these little courses and sales material and marketing material. I was so keen to get out of the employee situation into another. And this is probably something you can relate to, because I don't think anyone who starts a business, very few people who start their business weren't highly motivated. There's been the odd girl in the past where I've been 100 out of 100, right? You meet someone and they're just amazing, and you're highly motivated to do anything you can to impress them. Cricket, obviously, playing cricket for New Zealand was another one. That was definitely 100 out of 100 for me, right? Highly motivated, would have done anything. Now, I want you to, you're going to go to question one in a minute, and these are the questions. So the first question will be, and I'm going to go through the whole list, but I want you thinking about what are the things in your past where you've been at 100 out of 100, because I'm sure you've been there before. I'm sure there's been times when you've been so passionate and so driven for something or someone that you would do anything. Right? So I want you to think about that now. That's step number one. I'm going to go through all the steps and then you can go and do the exercises, right? But let me just review all the steps so you got a big picture. So we're going to list the 100 out of 100 moments so that we can mark them and say, right, what were they? Because we need to know those moments. Then I want you to describe the feelings that you had in those 100 out of 100 moments, right? And see if there's any correlation between them. The times when you were highly motivated, how were you feeling? What was the experience like? Number three, set the thermostat. Okay, so this is very easy. Just where do you want to be out of 100 for this goal that we're setting? Now, hopefully it's going to be 100. So that's step number 3 covered. Number 4, create your vision. So with that feeling that you're going to have, we're going to get you to create what would you be seeing in the future if you were to trigger off a similar experience. What would you be seeing? And you're going to write down some ideas about what you'd be seeing. Define the 100 numbers. That is about saying, okay, well, if you've got a bit of a vision for what you'd be seeing at 100, that would be feeling 100, what's the goals? Can we put some numbers by this? Can we put some hard markers beside it? Number 6, we're going to check the temperature. We'll say, okay, based on what you've got, where are you now? And 7, we're going to keep tweaking it till you get to 100. Okay, so those are the 7 steps. Boom. So what I want you to do now, I'm just going to give you a bit of an explanation about number 1, and then I want you to turn the video off and just write down on a piece of paper some of your 100 out of 100 moments where you've been highly motivated. So as an example, for me, obviously playing cricket was obviously one. Taking my family I always wanted to take my family to Disneyland. That was kind of a dream even before I had a family, is I wanted to take my kids to Disneyland. And this is us in New York. I actually did a speaking gig at a hotel just on the left there. That was really cool too. But taking my family to Disneyland was kind of a massive had to do it type goal for me. So that's for me. Darren had climbing Everest. I said, Darren, what's 100 out of 100 experience for you? Darren's a bit of a sportsman as well. And one of his was, I want to get to base camp. He didn't climb Everest, but he got to base camp. And that was something he really, really, really wanted to do with his partner, Anna. Right? So turn the video off. I want you to write down, you need 3 or 4, three minimum, 3 great moments in the past where you've been highly motivated. Okay, so turn off the video and start writing some notes. What were those times? Have you turned off the video? Or have you already written them? Okay, I'm going to assume you have written at least down 300 out of 100 moments where you've been massively driven to want to achieve something, either through huge fear or pain, or maybe because it's huge pleasure you're going to get from it. Okay, step number 2, describe the feeling. What does 100 out of 100 success like? So write down some words that describe the emotions that make you feel so good. What was it that was driving you? What was the feeling you had when you got there? Particularly, what were the feelings that were driving you there? Now, I'm going to give you a hand here before you turn the video off. Tony Robbins talks about the 6 human needs. Okay, now these are the things that drive all people, and this is kind of amazing because it's true. Okay, now you will be driven by probably all of these things to a degree, but 1 or 2 of them will be far more strong for you than the others. Okay, so here they are. Love and connection. Okay, there are some people who are driven by wanting to be connected to people. So they're passionate about being connected to their families, about their partners, about maybe their community, sometimes themselves or sometimes nature. Okay, are you a connection junkie? Number 2 is significance. These people are driven, they might not use the word significance, they might say achievement, success, winning, significance, victory, being number 1, that type of thing. Okay, are you driven by that? Okay, number 3, are you driven by certainty? Certainty. There are people, accountants are good if you're driven by certainty because you need to know how everything's right? So people who are driven by sports people are often driven by significance. Nurses, I'm going to generalize here. Nurses are obviously driven by a need mothers and really family people. Often the Polynesian community are very family orientated. So that's number 1. Significance. Sports people or business people are often driven by significance. Certainty are people who, they're consistent people. They have routines, they have systems, they are steady, they're reliable. They want that certainty. They don't particularly like risk, right? They don't particularly like stepping outside their comfort zone. They would hate cold calling, for example. right? Certainty. This is certainty. Are you driven by certainty? A need for certainty. The next one is uncertainty. Maybe you're driven by that. Now, some people might use the words, they might not use the words uncertainty. They might think, no, it's not uncertainty, it's freedom, it's variety, right? Uncertainty, variety, freedom. They like to change things all the time. They like to see what happens, right? They don't mind being in unfamiliar situations. That's exciting to them. They don't mind being at a dinner party and not knowing anyone. They don't know who they might meet someone interesting, right? The certainty person wouldn't like that so much. My wife's more of a certainty person. She likes to go to a dinner party and she likes to have me there. I'm more of an uncertainty. I like to go to a dinner party and leave her and go and meet some other interesting people, right? So we have a bit of a cross. Okay, the next one is growth. Are you a growth junkie? Do you like to attend courses and events and grow? Right? I'm a big growth. If I'm not growing, I'm dying. When I was in that IT job, I felt I was dying because I just wasn't growing. I had to get out, set up my own business, and I experienced immediate growth immediately, and I loved it. Through professional sport, I had growth. The final one is contribution. Contribution to others. Okay, so of those things, when you look at your list of 100 out of 100 moments from the past, have a think, was any of these things behind the reason that you were so driven to achieve the outcome that you want to achieve? And the answer is almost always, certainly. For me, for the cricket, it was significance, it was growth, it was uncertainty. Those were the key ones there. For setting up my own business, I guess uncertainty, growth, contribution, and significance. You can see I'm not so big on the love and connection, not so big on the certainty myself. Right? It doesn't make me a bad person. Don't judge me. It's just we're all different. There's no right or wrong with any of this stuff, right? So turn the video off now. Just write down which of these things do you think you're driven by, and do you see that? Do you see that as being the driver behind some of those things that you were driven 100 out of 100 by? So turn the video off now. Write down what drives you. You might use different words from this, or you might, that's fine. But at least know what are the emotions that drive you. Okay, turn the video off now and work out what are the emotions that drive you. Okay, we're back. At least I hope you're back. You have done the exercise, haven't you? Like, this doesn't work unless you do. So please, if you haven't done the exercise, do the exercises, every single one of them. All right, I'm going to assume you have. So let's continue. All right, now Sue, one of our accounting clients, she said it was about making a difference. She wanted to make a community. Okay, so she was driven by contribution and connection. And that's why. And so if when we go to set up a goal for Sue in the future, it's got to incorporate those things, because that's what drives Sue. By the way, that's not Sue. Sue doesn't look like that. But right, so it's about knowing what the things that drive you and then using those, okay? So that was Sue. For me, it was around challenge. It was around that growth aspect of challenge and significance. Okay, right. You've done that. Let's set the thermostat. Where do you want to be out of 100? So just on a piece of paper, where do you want to be out of 100 for your goal? Do you want to be 50 with arrows going in all different directions, 75 with most of them going towards it, or 100 where all the arrows going in the same direction? Write down your number. Boom. I'm going to assume it's 100 from here on, because if it's not, you really should turn this off and go and have a good long hard look at yourself in the mirror. What are you doing watching goal setting videos? Goal setting training, if you don't want to set 100 out of 100. I know you do. Right, so now that you've got 100 out of 100 feeling, you know what it feels like to be 100 out of 100. Okay, you know the drivers that drive you to be 100 out of 100. What I want you to do is, holding that feeling from those past moments, grab all those feelings up, almost like there's a they're in a great big bucket, all the emotions from those past times where you've been 100 out of 100, chasing that woman or that guy that you were highly passionate about, or wanting to start your own business, or wanting to win some sporting event, or get selected for a team, or wanting to achieve a certain number in your business. Take all those emotions, all those things that drove you, and literally pour that bucket of emotion over your head, and just douse yourself in those feelings again right now and recreate an outcome that feels the same. So from this state of mind, with being absolutely drenched with all the emotions from the past of those experiences, I want you to think now, what in the future would give you exactly the same feeling as those things? So turn the video off, just write down some words on a piece of paper. What would you be seeing if you were feeling the same sense of emotion that you've felt in the past? What would you be seeing in the future? Just write down some words on what you'd be seeing. Turn the video off now and just brainstorm with the feeling. Make sure you've got the feeling when you're trying to come up with what you'd be seeing. Without the feeling, without all that feeling of being drenched in the emotions that you've been driven by before, you won't come up with as good a picture. So make sure you're completely wet. Grab that bucket and tip it over your head again. That's it. Tip it over your head again. All the emotions are just falling all over you and dousing you. You're completely soaked in those old emotions. And then come up with a picture. Turn the video off now. Do the exercise. Okay, you're dry. You're dry. Have you got some words on a page? Good. We haven't finished. Now, as I'm speaking, you can add extra things, but what were the things that made you so excited? And it may be beyond just your business. Was it that you wanted to get out and add some balance to your life? Okay, did you want to take more family holidays? Is that the goal? I want a business, but I want to be able to take the family on holidays. Do you want more money? Right, add those things in. If you need any of that stuff, add it in. Okay, let's go on to the next step. Okay, so the next step is define the numbers. So if you've come up with an idea and a vision for what your 100 out of 100 goal feels like and what it looks like, now we need to just stick in some parameters. What are the numbers? If it's around money, how much money? If it's around time off, how much time off? If it's around number of staff, how many staff? What are the numbers? So that you've got some concrete, rather than just visual pictures. What are the concrete numbers that you can work with? So Sue had, I want 50 clients on advisory packages, and I want to be turning over 1 million a year. Okay, grunty numbers. They have to directly reflect the vision that you had. And that vision has to directly reflect the feeling that you have when you're at 100. Okay, so we're now starting to get accurate. Turn the video off. Write down some numbers that correspond to your vision. Oh, and before you do that, here's another way of doing it. Okay, you could list a whole lot of different things, right? Are you going to work 1 day a week or 7 days a week? Right? You might say, well, five's fine for me. Are you going to be a generalist or a specialist? I'm going to be a specialist. Are you going to be local or global? Right? These are some of the things that you might include in your goal. I don't know what they are. You're going to be low fees or high fees, or somewhere in the middle. You're going to be low income or high income. You're going to have no staff or lots of staff. You're going to work from home or you're going to work from an office. Are you going to get your clients by marketing or by referral, or somewhere in the middle? Are you going to be famous? You're going to write a book and be famous, or are you going to be best kept secret? Some of these things along the continuum you may want to add to your goal and to your vision and to your numbers, your specific numbers. Okay, so play around with these concepts, come up with exactly what it is that needs to happen, just some details. You can refine this later. So ready, turn the video off now and add some specific details. What are the numbers you need to have for your vision to have been reached? What's your success criteria? Okay, good work. You're back. Finally, check your temperature. Okay, you've done your goals in the past. You know what 100 feels like. You've come up. You know what drives you. You know what the vision that you need to see. You've created that. You've added some detail by adding some specific numbers and things like that correspond. How does it feel? Is it 100? Is it 100? Check the temperature. If it's not 100, we need to. If it's only 80, if it's good but not 100, it doesn't quite feel like that, then we need to go back and we need to tweak it. We need to tweak it up to 100. So we need to keep adding some things into the jar until we get that jar full. until we get our temperature up to 100. Okay, we tweak it. Now, if people aren't laughing at your dreams aren't big enough, right? Pick something more exciting. If you're not at 100, pick something more exciting. Just throw some numbers into your head and say, well, if I did this, or if I did this, and just use your gut to see how it feels and keep tweaking it until you find 100. Okay, define your ideal situation. Now, one of our ladies said, okay, she said she was 70. And I said, all right, we need to get you up to 100. How do we get you up to 100? Said, I don't know. That's what everyone says. I don't know. All right, great. What I want you to do is get yourself up to 100. This is a wee trick here. Take yourself up to 100 where you've been in the past. She said, yeah. Because you know where you've been in 100 in the past. Yeah. And what I want you to do is with that feeling, I want you to imagine your situation, but I want you to imagine your situation where you are at 100, right? She said, I can't do that. I said, why not? She said, well, I'm only at 70. I said, well, just imagine you could. She said, okay. And I said, have you done it? She said, yeah, I'm at 100 now. Okay. I said, what do you see now? She said, oh, I see. Well, what took me from 70 to 100 was when I realized I wasn't giving stuff away, because I used to give away a lot away free, but it didn't worry me because I was giving stuff away. It's like a candle. And I can take my candle, which is my knowledge, and I can light another candle. And the thing is, in no way, by giving that information away, in no way does that actually diminish my flame. I can start another flame, and then I can do another one. I can light unlimited candles, and it actually has no effect on me. I can just create. And the other thing she said I see is a waiting list. I see a waiting list of people wanting to work with me because I'm so good at what I do and everything's so powerful that I have people waiting to work with me. That would be awesome, right? I'm lighting these candles of other business owners and I have people wanting to join me. She said that would be 100 out of 100. That would just be completely awesome. So you're not 70. Oh, no, I'm 100. I got a waiting list. I'm putting my fees up, she said. So there you go. There's the exercise. Now, these dream goals don't find themselves. Okay, let's just review the process. Okay, list the 100 out of 100 moments. Okay, we got to find out what are they, and we use the power of those moments in the past because you've been there before. Describe the feeling. What did it feel like? What was driving you? Then make a decision. Out of 100, where do you want to be? You're going to say 100, right? Create the 100 vision. What is, with that feeling, taking that same feeling, what does success look like? If you create the feeling from the success, and then what do the numbers look like? What do the details look like? Then ask yourself, am I at 100? If not, check your temperature and tweak it till you get to 100. Keep playing around with different things. Use your gut to tell you. Don't use your head. Use your head as well, but use your gut. You know, does this make it better or worse? If I work 4 days instead of 5 days, does that make it better? Better or worse? Does it feel better? If I have a staff member doing all the stuff I hate doing, would that make it better or worse? And keep playing around with different scenarios until you go, yes, that's it. I've got it. I know exactly what I want. Whew, well, there we go. Goal setting session. Pretty heavy duty stuff, isn't it? Pretty deep and introspective, but powerful. Man, hey, now one word of warning here. The goal setting doesn't happen by itself. So coming up with a fantastic goal which inspires you and takes over your life and makes you wake up every morning feeling juiced doesn't happen just by sitting here listening. You actually have to do the exercise. So make sure you have on a piece of paper and you have done each of the 7 steps. And if you've done that, then you're going to be well on your way. Second thing I'll say is the profit maximizer is the next thing you need to do if you haven't already done it. Now, the profit maximizer, remember, is where's the easy money in my business, right? It's a series of questions to help you identify where are you not capitalizing? Where is there easy money to untap? And then if you get through those two, you need to do both those two things before you book a suitability session with us. If you haven't done these two things, we'll send you away. Okay, so we need you. Anyone who wants to book a strategy session, you can probably book it on this page or on the Profit Maximizer page, but fair warning, you'll need to have done the goal setting exercise and the Profit Maximizer. We'll want to know answers to both of those things before we have a suitability session. We don't take on any clients who haven't done both these exercises, okay? So you don't need to have a strategy session with us. You can do those 2 exercises, and that on their own is massively powerful. But please don't book a strategy session without having done these 2 exercises. You'll be, basically, we'll send you away. You'll need to go back and do them. All right. Hey, I've enjoyed putting this goal setting session together for you. Finding out what you want is probably one of the most important things that gives your business clarity. Man, what else do you want? You want clarity. I want to know where I want to take my business. And then once you know where, finding out how to get there becomes so much easier once you know where you want to get to. So I've enjoyed putting the session together for you. Set a goal, commit to your goal, know that you can do it, because you can do it. You can do anything. You can't do everything. But you can do pretty much anything. And achieving a more successful business in the scale of rocket science is pretty low. Like, that's doable. There are step-by-step things that you can put in place to have a more profitable business. That's one of the easier things to do. Talk to us if you want more help. It's not hard. There are stuff to do that you're not doing right now that will make immediate changes. Okay, so don't think you can't change your business in a significant way very fast. You can. That's one of the easier things to do. Saving the world from starvation and putting a man on the moon, that's a lot harder than just your business making more money. So don't kid yourself that you can't. You can. Okay, so be brave, take a few risks, and get some help, get some support, find the right people, and be brave. Okay, so I've enjoyed putting the session together for you. Hope you've enjoyed it. I would love to hear back from you as to what your goals are and how you've got some extra focus. Until we speak, my name is Richard Petrie, and to your success, all the best.